going live onto the YouTube live streaming, and I am hitting record so that we can get this meeting recorded. Going live onto, there we go. And sorry, it's taken us just a few minutes to get going. And there's Yandela, and I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Can everybody see that first slide, that welcome slide? Yeah, great. Well, welcome everybody. Just getting started here, letting in more participants. I think just about everybody is here. Welcome back. I am so glad to see you, and I am so thankful for the work that you did last week. It was really, really rich. Really appreciated it. Selena, should I just pause and let you jump in?
Yes, please. Every 2 or 3 sentences you can pause and I will step right in.
Okay, great. So just as a reminder, our last meeting is next week, next Tuesday at 3:30.
Como recordatorio, nuestra siguiente reunión, la última reunión, sería el próximo martes a las 3:30.
And I just want to remind you, if you haven't done so already, to please, if you need to name yourself in the participants list, it's great to know your name and where you're from, the agency that you're from, or who you represent.
Y les quiero recordar, si no lo han hecho, de nombrarse en la lista de participantes. Es bueno que pongan su nombre y a qué agencia pertenecen.
And we can't select a language preference right now because we can't get the interpreter channel to work properly, so we don't have to worry about that. But if we get it up and running, we'll let you know.
Y por ahora no podemos seleccionar la interpretación como preferencia porque hemos tenido detalles con el canal de interpretación. Sin embargo, si hacemos que funcione, les dejaremos saber.
And if you're having any technical assistance issues, we have our IT wonder person, Mark, is back with us this week. Please go ahead. If you're having any issues, you can raise your virtual hand or put something in the chat.
Si llegara a haber preguntas de asistencia técnica, nuestro asistente técnico Mark ya ha regresado con nosotros esta semana, así que pueden dirigirse con él, pueden levantar su mano virtual o dirigirse con él.
Great, thank you. And if you need to step away, please feel free to do so and take care of whatever might be happening in your world.
Bueno, y si llegaran por alguna razón necesitaran retirarse por un momento, pueden hacerlo para que se encarguen de lo que tengan sucediendo en sus mundos.
Wonderful, thank you so much. And so I just thought that a little bit of an icebreaker today. February is the month of Valentine's Day. And so something that you love, whether it's an idea or a pet or a child or a coffee cup or whatever it might be, let's put something in the chat that we love this month.
Y bueno, me alegra, les agradezco demasiado. Y como un rompehielo, para iniciar, como es el mes de febrero, el mes del Día del Amor y la Amistad, me gustaría que pusieran algo que ustedes aman en el chat, ya sea una idea, una mascota, sus hijos, alguna taza para el café, lo que sea, lo pueden colocar en el chat.
Oh, I'm seeing some great responses here. Coffee and a good book.
Estoy
Growing
viendo muy buenas respuestas, café y un buen libro.
longer days.
Días más largos.
Wildflowers, they're coming. They're coming soon.
Flores silvestres, pues ya vienen y vienen pronto.
Yes, the daffodils. I'm seeing the daffodils and really hoping they don't get too cold.
Sí, también las flores silvestres, que espero que no se pongan muy frías.
Lots of great things there. Thank you.
Muchas cosas muy buenas, les agradezco.
All right, so today's agenda. I'm hoping today will flow well for everyone. A little bit easier than last week now that we've been through the process once.
Y bueno, para la agenda del día de hoy, espero que fluya mejor para todos, como ya la semana pasada hemos pasado por lo mismo.
I'm going to review the responses that you gave last week to make sure that I've captured everything accurately.
Voy a revisar la respuesta que yo obtuve todo de manera precisa.
And then we will have 2 breakout times. You'll stay with your same groups, and you're going to actually review the middle section and the last section of the operations manual.
Y luego vamos a dividirlos en salas. Van a seguir perteneciendo a sus mismos grupos, pero ustedes van a revisar la sección de en medio y la última sección de su manual de operación.
We'll take a little break in the middle and see if we can capture some responses from that. And then at the end, we'll do the same thing, have a little report out.
Vamos a tomar un descanso en medio y vemos si podemos capturar algunas respuestas de lo mismo y haremos lo mismo al final. Vamos a juntar como un reporte.
So some responses that I captured from last week. These were the main themes that I heard from and collected from all the jam boards. The cost of insurance was the first one.
Y bueno, estos fueron fueron las respuestas de la semana pasada, fueron los temas principales que yo escuché y se coleccionaron. Uno de ellos fue el costo de seguro.
Assisting providers to develop their operational readiness to be a baby promise provider was another main theme I heard.
Y para también, más bien, tener los proveedores asistentes para los desarrollos y tener a proveedores que tengan el desarrollo de preparación para el programa de promesa de bebés.
And the ERDC requirements for residency are a difficulty for families. Where families live is an issue. That's the third one I heard.
Y la residencia o los requerimientos de RDC, donde viven las familias, es un factor difícil. Fue lo tercero que yo logré escuchar.
And then the fourth large one that came across was about accessibility, both language accessibility and transportation as a barrier for families and providers.
Y la cuarta más grande, el tema más grande que escuché, que fue la accesibilidad tanto al idioma como el transporte se convierten en barreras tanto para las familias como los proveedores.
And then I've captured, this is a really text heavy slide, Selena. So, and I did send this to Sabi in Spanish. Yes, okay, beautiful. So, Selena, I don't think you have to translate this part, if that's okay. And I won't spend too long here, but I did just want you to take a look to, again, if there's anything I didn't capture or I captured incorrectly. When you talked about benefits for state recipients of this program, children, families, providers, you noted that everyone benefits financially, families, community, children, and the negative impacts that you noted are some of the ones that I just mentioned: travel, insurance, some notes about processes that are hard for some to navigate. ERDC, the USDA food program takes a lot of administrative work for providers. More about language barriers, a comment about supporting children's transitions out of baby promise, more standardized documentation, even some software to help providers. And for providers who don't have a lot of staff, how can they more easily access baby promise services? So those were some on question 1. Question 2, which benefit recipients might be economically affected positively or negatively? Members of the public likely to be economically affected. And you said retailers, businesses, K-12 system, all positive impacts there, positive impacts for other publicly funded programs. Some negative impacts you talked about were when a program is not a Spark level, there's an impact on others. Those are, again, outside the county that cannot be served, and housing availability, access to services for families where they work and where they live. And then question 3 is from a racial equity perspective, which populations might be positively or negatively harmed? You said that Baby Promise is a great opportunity for marginalized families. In terms of negative impacts, you said accessibility of documents and culturally appropriateness of Spark, and I'm thinking here lack of language also is a negative impact. The piece about unexcused absences can be a negative impact, and this can be a downside in effective recruitment. And again, because a family must be ERDC qualified, the family does have to navigate that system. So those were some negative pieces. Question 4, how or in what way are ethnically specific communities impacted? You listed negative impacts. Again, ERDC, families must work with ODHS. That can be time consuming. Some communities may not qualify based on federal poverty levels or their poverty level. While DELC is working on access to higher ed in other languages, this requirement can be difficult for some providers. Restrictions for families who are not in Baby Promise, live or work not in Baby Promise zip codes, culturally responsive options, and a lack of Spanish or multilingual staff. So all of these were really, really great captures, and I'm so grateful for the work that you put into this Jamboard last week. In some items that you were glad to read about, you appreciated the equity lens, you appreciated that the attendance bits were called out, and for some language for the CCR&R to use to navigate absences. Field trips gives providers exposure to different environments. Full-time, full-year care is a great thing, and appreciated the inclusion of early learning hubs. And then the final question there. was in the section that you reviewed, could you identify an item that was really of significant concern? And what I captured was transitioning out of baby promise, not being a process for automatic eligibility into preschool promise, the lack of connection between programs, again, insurance requirements. This came up many times in your Jamboard notes. And thank you to whoever said using the phrase baby promise program participant. Much time has been spent on that phrase. And I appreciate whoever was brave enough to put that on there, because I'll get back to the drawing board on it. It is a difficult one. And so I was grateful to see that. Any questions? You can go ahead and unmute or raise your hand, whatever you're comfortable with. Any questions before we sort of move on?
Si llegara a haber alguna pregunta y si tienen preguntas ahora, pueden activar sus micrófonos y hacerlas antes de que procedamos.
Okay, hearing none, I'm going to take it that we're all on board, or you did not yet have your afternoon coffee. And let's get ready to—
Question in the chat there, Media just came in. What happens if our local CCR&R doesn't participate?
Do you mean in this meeting, or they don't participate in baby promise? I'm not sure, Rachel, where you are geographically.
Hay una pregunta en el chat. ¿Qué pasa si nuestro CCR&R local no participa? No sé dónde está ubicada geográficamente para la pregunta.
I see. You're in Marion. Yes. Well, what will happen, the goal to happen, is that baby promise will expand. And I know that that is what DELC is really looking to do.
Yavi está en Marion y lo que va a venir pasando es que promesa para bebés va a expandirse, que al final esa es la meta del Departamento de Cuidados y Aprendizaje Temprana de Oregon, o DELC por sus siglas en inglés.
And so your CCR&R could then could make a proposal to be a baby promise grantee.
Entonces, en su CCR&R pueden hacer la propuesta de que se conviertan en un integrante para esta propuesta.
That's a good question. And Caitlin asks, is there a plan for navigating baby promise applicants and the ERDC waitlist?
Es una buena pregunta, y Caitlin pregunta si hay un plan para navegar a los aplicantes de Baby Promise y la lista de espera de RDC.
And yes, there is a plan. We are, how can I say this easily? We are pursuing some strategies to work with families who do not yet have preferred providers, to try and see if we can get them attached. So we do have some remedies that we're working on, but it's taking some time because it involves IT systems and things.
Bueno, sí, es la manera de contestarla sería, pues estamos persiguiendo algunas estrategias para trabajar con las familias que aún no han seleccionado un proveedor de preferencia. Sin embargo, hay una tardanza ahí en las cuestiones técnicas.
And Sabi has her hand raised.
Sabi tiene su mano alzada. Adelante.
Sí, solamente yo quería decir que yo pienso que la mejor manera de ayudar a los niños que se empieza con Baby Promise tiene que ver un enlace con Preschool Promise, ya que porque estos programas son para el bienestar de los niños. Entonces, ¿por qué no tener un enlace? Porque O sea, pueden participar los niños en Baby Promise, pero terminan ese programa, ya no califican para Baby Promise, para Preschool Promise. Entonces, ¿cómo ustedes ayudarían más a esos niños? Porque ya sabemos que los niños que tienen más necesidades con el apoyo socioemocional son los niños que son más vulnerables. Entonces, ¿cómo se asociaría Baby Promise con Preschool Promise?
Well, I think that I just wanted to say that I think that the best way that we can help these children that are associated in Baby Promise is to connect them with Presco Promise. I think that, you know, there should be a connection. They go through Baby Promise, but after that, I think that the children that are in most need should be connected also with Presco Promise. So is that a possibility?
That is something that we are aware of and are working on. Absolutely. I think it is a possibility. It's going to take some time. It's a matter of time, and yeah, time is what it's going to take.
Sí, eso es algo de lo que estamos conscientes y estamos trabajando sobre ello, y absolutamente yo creo que es una posibilidad. Sin embargo, es algo que tarda tiempo, y al final de cuentas, pues es eso, no es el tiempo.
All right. And Rachel, I do see your question. I want to give some thought to that. And the reimbursement rate varies. So let me get back to you on that specific question. I would like to go ahead and move us into our breakout group so that you can start to work on the next bit. Mina, did I see your hand go up?
Y bueno,
Yes.
veo que hay una pregunta por parte de Rachel. Tengo que ponerle más empeño a esto porque las tarifas de reembolso varían, entonces regresaré a ello. Mientras tanto, vamos a ir a las salas y vamos a trabajar en la siguiente parte, y vi que tenía Mina su mano alzada.
Did the family's eligibility discussed? I'm sorry, I wasn't sure. Did we have the family eligibility in the last conversation? I know there's like a zip code, but
Well, we didn't discuss family eligibility specifically, but families need to be eligible and enrolled in ERDC.
oh, okay.
That's how they're eligible for Baby Promise.
Yeah.
Baby Promise is funded by CCDF funds.
Okay.
That goes to the ERDC program.
Because ERDC is in the federal poverty guideline. Is that threshold like 100% to 100%? And then I just wanted to make a comment on that. Family who lives in the city of Portland, their minimum wage is $15.45, while federal minimum wage stays at $7.25, and it's scheduled to go up to $16.70 on July 1st. So my fear is that if it's statewide all the same, I'm afraid the city of Portland families get priced out. And it doesn't mean they have lots of money. You know, the rents are very high and the cost is very expensive in Multnomah County, and they can't afford it either. So if there's, same way in reimbursement is, the regional changes, is there any way the income eligibility can be regional too?
That's a great question. And I don't think that there is, because of the way Baby Promise is funded. But what I can do is write your question down and dig more into how that works. Since it's tied to ERDC and that is regional,
Mhm.
and the reimbursement rates, I think Rachel is asking about reimbursement to providers.
Mhm. But not to family eligibility.
Well, and the way that Baby Promise works is there's two pieces. There ERDC piece where the provider gets the voucher for whatever that family is eligible for,
Mhm.
right? And then there's the Baby Promise supplement that comes from the CCR&R that makes up that monthly rate. And those supplement rates, which might be what Rachel is referring to, those there's a range of those rates
Oh, okay.
between different types of providers and different regions.
Okay.
So that kind of might help a little.
Yeah, I was
I
confused. So
understand.
that was a reimbursement for the provider, the business owners. I
Yeah.
understood that. But I just wanted to share the experience as a preschool promise. This year, we had to turn away more numbers of families because they were even slightly over the 200% of federal poverty guideline. And we calculated with the after July 1st income, if there are two working family, even minimum wages, and have only one child, that would be over 200%. And
Yes.
I would hate that we set it up that family can't access.
Yeah,
And I know it's not statewide issues, but I wanted to make that aware as we roll it out to statewide.
Yes, that is absolutely one that we have discussed and are working on. Thank you for bringing that forward. All right, I think we have all the co-hosts that we need. And so Liz, do you think you're ready to break us into breakout groups?
Yes, I am a little bit wondering if Lauren is co-host currently.
I think I did make Lauren a co-host.
Okay.
And so we're running a little bit behind. So we'll stay in this first breakout room for 15 to 20 minutes and reorganize our agenda.
Bueno, estamos un poco atrasados, entonces vamos a quedarnos en esta primera sala de entre 15 a 20 minutos en lo que organizamos nuestra agenda.
And I just put the links to the Jamboards in the chat there, and I'm going to open the breakout rooms.
Acabo de poner los enlaces de las salas y voy a activarlas.
Mark, did you get a chance to visit the rooms?
Yes, I toured through each room. Everybody was working just fine.
I'm calling them back now.
Seemed like it's possible that the page numbers that I have on the slides are not lining up with the printed version of the manual.
That
So
is
apologies.
That is quite possible because probably it was printed double-sided. Well, I don't know. That wouldn't matter though. Good thing we're also flexible.
The one I was sent in the mail, which was lovely, doesn't seem to correspond to the one that Liz had, so. But we figured things out.
Figured it out because you're amazing. Welcome back. Just a reminder that you were having a great discussion. Okay, that is good. I'm seeing that in the chat. We're going to go back for some more discussion in your same groups. Just a reminder that the rule set that we are working on here codifies Baby Promise the way that it exists pretty much right now. And that we're looking at these documents through the lens of these prompts to gather feedback on those, so that if we can tweak or alter something, we will be able to do that before April 1st. You're asking some great questions about the way that Baby Promise works in terms of reimbursement and the way ERDC works. Those things probably are not going to change before April 1st, but they're great questions and I'm going to capture them. So is there anything that you feel like was said in the past 20 minutes or so that was a big item for your group? If there's somebody who wants to speak for the group, we'll just take a couple minutes and then we'll go back. Oh, yes, Selena, I'm sorry, I need to be quiet and let you speak.
Bueno, van a regresar a los mismos grupos para las siguientes reglas. Y bueno, estoy viendo muy buenas preguntas. Entonces, recuerden que aquí el propósito es codificar el programa de Baby Promise y cómo existe ahora mismo. Entonces, vamos a documentar esos pensamientos que tienen. Entonces, si hay algo que quisieran agregar, como que se pueda alterar o cambiar, recuerden que se puede hacer antes del 1 de abril. Pero son muy buenas preguntas, cómo es que quieren saber qué funciona Baby Promise, los reembolsos, cómo funciona RDC. Y bueno, esos cambios en sí no se harán, ¿no? Hasta el abril 1 van a continuar. Pero bueno, si tienen preguntas, voy a capturarlo. ¿Hay algo que lograron percibir en estos últimos 20 minutos? ¿Algo en particular que haya surgido en sus grupos?
I can share from our group. We were in room 2. One thing that came up a lot was just the idea of culturally responsive care, and making sure that like the high quality piece, which is really important, but just making sure that it aligns with culturally specific preschool programs or infant toddler programs, because we know that there are some very specific cultural nuances around infant care and toddler care, and we would want to make sure that we were able to find kind of a middle ground between what the expectations are and also what the culture expects.
Bueno, nosotros estuvimos en la sala 2 y estuvimos hablando sobre los cuidados culturales y sus respuestas. Nos queremos asegurar de que haya una alta calidad en esto mismo en cuanto a los espacios culturales y el programa en cuanto a los cuidados infantiles y el preescolar, y queremos asegurarnos que se alineen, que pueda haber un punto medio en lo que esperamos y tanto lo que esperamos como la parte cultural.
Excellent comment. Thank you. Any other big ones? Do you want to get
Yo-
back to your conversations? Go ahead.
Yo tengo algo que decir acerca de las prácticas de alimentación y comida, que es la sección 12. Donde dice aquí que los participantes adoptarán prácticas de alimentarias de tipo familiar y que los niños pueden agarrar su comida. Yo pienso que como está la situación de la inflación, pienso que no es una buena práctica, ya que el costo de comida es muy caro y tampoco eso les afectará a las proveedoras que sirven Preschool Promise, ya que no sabemos cuánto es el costo que se les pagará por Baby Promise.
Well, I have something to say regarding the practices with food. It's in section 12. It says something like, here the participants are going to adapt to the practices that would be family practices and grab their food. I think that inflation has a big role in this situation, and I don't think it's a good practice because food has become very expensive. And I think that this is going to affect the preschool promise providers, and I don't know that it would be a good thing for Baby Promise.
And Sabi, be more specific about what section that is, section 12?
Sabi, ¿puede ser más específica en cuanto a qué sección es? ¿Sección 12?
Es la sección 12 y donde dice prácticas de alimentación y comida y en la parte donde dice comer al estilo familiar.
It is section 12 where it says food practices and where it says having food in a family style.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you for that.
Se lo agradezco.
And that's added to our board. Thank you, Liz.
Y Liz ya lo agregó a la tabla, Sabi.
So I think what we'll do is go ahead and break back out into our groups and take another 20 minutes. If you can move on to the final section of this operations manual, that would be ideal. The guidebook that we're going to go look at next week is much the same as this operations manual. It's almost exactly the same. So I'm thinking about our agenda for next week. But I want to encourage you to, if you can, to finish the guidebook comments today so that we can really dive in to your comments next week and have, the operations manual today and have an opportunity to look at the guidebook next week. Does that make sense?
Bueno, entonces vamos a tomar los siguientes minutos. Si pueden, vayan a la sección van a hablar de la sección de la operación manuales. Si pueden, intenten hacer comentarios sobre el libro de lineamientos, que de hecho es casi similar. Ya estoy pensando en la agenda. Entonces vamos a intentar terminar estos comentarios el día de hoy para que podamos verlos la próxima sesión.
All right. So there's the Jamboard links again in the chat if you need them. And Liz, take it away with the magic breakout groups that you do.
De nuevo en el chat están los enlaces para las salas.
Mandy, do you speak Spanish?
Not very much. I'll come back.
Bienvenidos de vuelta.
It always seems like not enough time. Welcome back. And how about, is there a group that didn't share one last time that could share a sort of a big idea that came out?
Parece que nunca alcanza el tiempo. ¿Hay algún grupo que no compartió la última vez que creen que tienen algún concepto o idea más grande?
I can share out something for group 1. Unless Karen, Rachel, Mina. Not getting any takers. So one of the things that was appreciated, that glad to have read, was the emphasis on continuity of care, recognizing that it's important for infants and toddlers.
Great. That's a good one.
Y del grupo 1 nos gustaría compartir que una de las cosas que nos agradó leer es que hay un énfasis en la continuidad de los cuidados para aquellos infantes, porque realmente es una cuestión muy importante para ellos.
So let me ask this, and I'll look for maybe a thumbs up. Do you feel that you had enough time with this operations manual?
Voy a hacerles la pregunta, me dan pulgares arriba. ¿Ustedes sienten que ustedes tuvieron suficiente tiempo con este manual operacional?
And I'm seeing 4 or 5 thumbs up.
Veo 4 o 5 pulgares arriba.
And now I'm looking, here's another question for a thumbs up. Would you, knowing that the 2 documents are very much the same, are you open to some different prompts to discuss next week?
Y la siguiente pregunta, por la cual les pido pulgares arriba, sabiendo que estos documentos fueron casi iguales, ¿están dispuestos a recibir algunas propuestas más diferentes en la siguiente discusión?
And I see nodding heads and thumbs up there. You're okay with that?
Entonces veo que están de acuerdo porque están moviendo sus cabezas y veo pulgares arriba.
So what I will do before next week is send you the collated responses from today.
Lo que voy a hacer antes de la próxima semana es que les voy a enviar las respuestas que se dieron el día de hoy.
And hopefully in Spanish as well.
Esperemos que en español también.
And I'll send a different set of prompts to discuss the guidebook next week.
Y voy a enviar unas propuestas diferentes esta vez para que podamos hablar de los lineamientos la próxima discusión.
That way, I think we can collect all of your responses for both documents by the time we are finished next week.
De esa forma creo que vamos a poder juntar todas sus respuestas en lo que da la siguiente semana.
Please feel free to email me or call me if you have any questions or concerns.
Por favor, siéntanse con la libertad de mandarme correo electrónico o me llamen si llegaran a tener preguntas o dudas.
And once again, I want to thank you for your time. I know that it's very valuable and I really appreciate it, as does Baby Promise.
De nuevo, les quiero agradecer por su tiempo. Yo sé que es de un alto valor para nosotros y también para Baby Promise.
Thank you and have a good rest of your week, and you'll hear from me over the week.
Gracias, que tengan un buen resto de su semana y van a saber más por mi parte en el transcurso de la semana.